Hi, it's Beck.
And Nat, two very different sisters who come together each week to reframe problems big and small with you, our dear Reframeables.
Why do we call you such a term of endearment?
Because, Rebecca, we are all in the process of being reframed and reframing.
Ooh, that's different, Nat.
I'm keeping you on your back foot.
Nice pivot. This week we are reframing a moment we lost ourselves.
I.e., reframing self-discovery.
I like it. Mm-hmm. And we are also going to commit to a 30-day experiment in our lives.
Maybe you can join us in that experiment, should you choose.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. So I just read The Sentence by Louise Erdrich.
Ooh.
And she had this amazing line in it. And I actually think it's kind of the premise of the book is that Tookie, the main character, has this big moment in her life where she does this crime.
Okay.
And she kind of gets lured into it. And then the book isn't really about the crime so much. It's about her reflecting on her life and reflecting on this, what she says is this moment that she lost herself. I think maybe it's her husband that names it. Was that the moment you lost yourself? And I just found that line so powerful. Like it really resonates. Does it resonate with you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love her writing anyways. Like I remember she was introduced to me. I don't know if this was the same experience for you, but she was introduced to me through her novel, Love Medicine by Mum, right? Mm-hmm. When Mum was teaching literature courses. And even though Mum used to spend so much time focusing on Canadian lit, it was really interesting that in terms of American lit, the first voice that she put forward for me was this Native American writer, Erdrich, and Love Medicine, and how powerfully that kind of rendered something for Mum. And then I went on and taught a bunch of Erdrich stuff, and specifically some of her short stories. Like I've been wanting you to spend some time with that one short story, American Horse. So if anybody's curious about that one, it's an amazing text that I would love to have a Reframeables book club moment just talking about that specific short story. So if anybody's keen, join in. But all that to say, loss is definitely a theme that shows up in so much of her work that I have connected to. And that line, oh my gosh.
Which, like it's even, it feels so specific. Like it's loss, but it's also like a specific to a moment I lost myself, or I forgot myself is maybe, or I forgot who I was, or I forgot the person I've been trying to be in the world. Or I don't know. I think about it in all those ways. And
misplaced, like the idea of like a misplaced part of the self.
Yeah.
That you have to find again even.
Yeah. I like that. And I was interested because I was reading this book with my book club, and I yelled out that line. I love this line. And nobody picked up on it. And I don't know, in everyone's having their feelings about the book in different ways and whatever. I was hoping that someone had resonated as well with that line.
Yeah.
But then I was also wondering, is that a particular preoccupation, someone who is pondering their way in the world, and is that a particular preoccupation of ours that we think about those failed? I mean, I think it's definitely my preoccupation. It's something that I come back to again and again, is thinking about how I am in the world, and then where I failed, and then needing to forgive myself. So I guess also I'm wondering, is this episode really about forgiveness and forgiveness of self?
And failure, because you added that word in there too, which is interesting to me, because loss here then connects to fail for you, just so I'm...
Well, I guess I'm thinking it certainly doesn't have to, but if a moment I forgot myself, or could could you also say a moment I failed myself?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I failed is definitely got a heavier negative feeling to it. But what do you think? You think you would prefer to stay out of that word failure, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we've opened a door here.
Opening at walking.
So I'm cracking it open a little bit further and going, I think that my gut instinct would be to not sort of spend too much time on failure. Like yesterday, Clifford and I were putting together Frankie's new desk. It's like a Murphy bed that hangs on the wall. But a Murphy desk. I didn't know this was a thing. Okay. And it kind of comes down and it's great. And anyways, we're like having trouble kind of putting it together at one point. And I'm like, oh, I messed up on that part. And Clifford's got the drill and he's not making eye contact at that point, but he sort of looks up slightly and he's like, this is not about personal failure, Natalie. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Right. It's just a desk. So there might be.
Wait, hold on. Wait,
Go ahead.
That's interesting though, because I never associate that with you at all, but Clifford obviously hears it enough to have pointed it out.
And he would say that in our family, you, me, Mom, that we are very hard on ourselves and want so badly for things to go well or as intended or, perfect for all the people that we are caring for, that he ties it back to like a real self-flagellation. That's actually what it comes down to for him, so he's like, we need to not do that. Please do less of that for yourself.
Especially while we're making this Murphy bed.
Especially while we're putting this desk together. So all that to say, I think that, yeah, failure is going to be a part of this question around loss. And a moment, and I mean, I think I'm going to talk through a story where I'm just, why the hell not? I'm going to just share it on here. I've spent so much time on this podcast talking about my journey through my divorce, where I got married very young, and then after 7 years we divorced, and that was definitely prompted by me. That was my decision. And then I have also shared about getting married to Clifford, which happened many years later, but I haven't shared much about a relationship that occurred for 4 to 5 years, sort of in between those two. And I think I've purposely not wanted to share it because I have spent a lot of energy working my way through what felt like relational failure in that time. And I can 100% say that there were moments over those years where I lost myself completely. And I can remember one specific moment, and I didn't intend to cry this morning, but this could happen. So, here we are. But I remember living in that house that I ended up buying my ex-husband out of, and now I've got this house to myself, and I'm being all brave and doing all these things. And then you and Simon were bringing me a couch, like it was a couch bed, an IKEA one, that I had slept on when I had stayed with you in California when Elsie was first born. And then you had brought Elsie for a visit, and you had put Elsie on my lap, or I had taken her, whatever. So I'm sitting on this white couch from you, and I'm holding Elsie, but we were having a discussion. You and I were having like a Natalie Rebecca moment of discussion where you were just really, wanting me to name where I was at with this relationship. And you wanted something from me that I wasn't able to give you in terms of like a clarity. I didn't have a clear answer in terms of how to name why this person was treating me the way that they were. And, why was I okay with that? Because that's how it seemed to you from the outside looking in. This person was treating me really badly. And somehow your smart teacher sister who teaches lessons to everybody else was not paying attention to some pretty seemingly obvious lessons that I was living through. Right there in front of you. And basically, I think you were like, what the fuck? But without saying that. And you specifically didn't say that because I was holding your 6-month-old baby. And I remember you very much saying to me, I think I'm going to take Elsie back because I don't want her to absorb this hurt. She's too little to absorb it. Natalie. And oh my goodness, right, Rebecca.
The hurt between us, or the hurt, what was I saying? That's horrible.
No, it wasn't horrible. It was
Really?
it was really motherly of you for her. And I think you were also caring for me. You know, I don't know that we both maybe lived that out in that moment very well, just because it was all so new and fresh. But I really think you were basically saying to me, you know, like, what you're living here is a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't want this hurt for Elsie. She's too little for this hurt. And like, maybe in sort of the undercurrent of those words was, I don't want this for you, Natalie. Because it was so much hurt.
But you obviously experienced what I said as a deep wound.
No.
Really
I
didn't?
100% did not experience this as a wound from you. What it was, 100% for me, was a moment of recognition that somehow I had lost myself. Because if I couldn't hold my niece, who I loved more than anything, through that hurt, then what was going on? And then I think what's so crazy about that kind of an experience is that it still took years for me to extricate myself from what was only just recently, with a friend that I had lunch with, who was very much tied to that time and spent a lot of time with me through that. And I expressed to her that my memory of that time was that it was an abusive relationship, psychologically abusive relationship. And for the first time, she agreed. And I found that really fascinating, because for all the years prior to that, I don't know that she had the language to name that for what it was. So is it that just, you know, we're now in our 40s and we can retrospectively look back on the damages that life, is it wreaked upon us? Like, you know, but that relationship, it was kind of validating to have somebody else who was very intimately connected to all of those stories say, yes, that was psychologically abusive, what you navigated, what you lived through. And yet you were the one that was able to say that to me earlier on. So I think that there's just something really crazy, wild, nuts, I don't know, whatever is the perfect descriptive term to sort of comment on moments of forgetting the self, of like the loss of the self. Maybe, Becca, I don't even know that I knew that part of myself. Like, was there something that I didn't even know I had lost or forgotten because I had never really known it was there? Like, honestly, there are parts of me that sort of wonder, looking back, if I didn't actually value myself until I finally left that relationship. So, there you go, Reframeables. So there's something in that, right? Like, there's something in retrospectively considering it all.
And you know,
but I just want to finish this one thought. Can a moment, like the idea of Erdrich saying the moment you lost yourself, it's really weird that perhaps my recognizing that moment was split apart by years. So it's like the moment started with you and Elsie on that white couch.
With the intervention?
Yeah, with like my intervention.
with the harsh intervention.
Not harsh, loving. But that it took, like, it was a moment that was spread out over another couple of years. And I think that's very interesting. Like, just human nature, the slow pondering, oh my gosh, tough slog it takes to kind of get to knowledge. And
it makes me think of addiction and how it's never one conversation is going to be like, solve it. You just needed to hear that all of us, I don't know, get addicted to different feelings or different
pain
or pain cycles that we're familiar with. And also it's making me think of Anne Lamott's, I was reading her new book last night. It's called Dusk, Night, Dawn. I think she wrote it maybe it's at one of, I think during maybe post-pandemic, during the pandemic, but one of the things she talks about is that our biggest maybe project or need in life is to work on self-love.
Oh yeah,
and when you say that, it's funny because you'd think like you'd think we just have it, right?
Mm-hmm. By this point, anyways.
Well, and I mean, maybe in our 40s we're getting better at it, but you'd think that as a child, and then, I don't know. I'm just amazed at how self-love isn't just
natural.
Or
something gets worked out of us pretty quickly.
Yes, it's so, like, is there a moment when self-love disappears? Like, you'd imagine, that we try to nurture it, and then when did we lose our self-love and then to have to regain it?
Yeah.
Gosh. Like, why didn't you have it? And why have I struggled with it? I guess it's a universal struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, I'm not going to make you now. I'm not going to obligate you to weep. but would you say that looking back on your life that there was a moment where you lost yourself? Like, does it work like that? Does it play out like that in terms of language?
I don't know. Like, if there's one moment, I when I think what resonated for me, and by the way, her name, you say it, how do you say her name? Louise?
I say Erdrich.
Erdrich, okay.
But I don't know. I've never actually had it said to me.
We need Google to read it to us.
We need Google to read this to us.
I think what resonated for me in that is that I feel that my life is so many of those. It's such a constant feeling for me that I keep losing myself and losing myself. And that was how I heard it, that I'm like a flip book of moments that I've lost myself, that it's daily. I think you said to me, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
So I was even thinking today, have I already lost myself today? Is there a moment that I was too mad, reacted, made a bad choice? And I don't know, maybe not yet.
Clifford would be looking at you up from the drill, Rebecca.
Everything's not about your personal failure.
No, yeah. Just put the damn desk together with me. No, but that's so interesting because that's even like, as you say, I'm sort of picturing myself as your older sister. If you've lost yourself, and think of like Hansel and Gretel, and I'm like leaving little bits of breadcrumbs for you to follow your way back. I mean, I need to do that for myself, but I feel like I can help you.
Yeah. Wow.
That's why we need each other.
I know. I think that's what what makes me ache a little bit for even us and you, is that you've just been so devoted to helping me find my breadcrumbs. and I just don't like, I think during that really difficult period that you mentioned, I wish I had approached that situation with more softness for you, because I think I wasn't very soft about it all. I think I was almost like, slap, come on, sister, this is this is bad for you. But it wasn't gentle loving you through it, was it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna put that on you. You didn't know. We were just learning. We were babies, really, in so many ways, right? Like emotional babies in that response, or in that respect, just because it was also...
Yeah.
But yeah, softness is great.
Softness, and I just like to say that if you encounter a very troubling situation again,
let's go through with softness.
Let's do it softer.
Yeah.
No screeching car and pushing the other one out. I don't know, whatever we did. I feel like there was a moment with a car that was really aggressive, and I don't want to be that way. I think that's just, okay, like this is an interesting, weird one, but like Violet doesn't want to get her booster shot.
Right, okay.
So I said, we're getting it tomorrow. I thought it was nothing. Like I thought we did shots now we all just get needles in our arms and we all do it and we just go, this is life. And we don't care. But she was really upset by it and she didn't want to get it. So it turned into kind of a thing. And then she was like, just crying crying actually. And then I started just saying, sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was doing. I just started saying sorry so many times, just in this kind of like detached way or something, like as a strategy that I'm not going to get riled up. I'm just going to sort of detach and just be really uber calm. And then finally she said, Mommy, you're saying that word so many times, it doesn't even mean anything. I know. I was, oh my gosh.
That girl's
so
worldly
smart.
wisdoms, oh my goodness.
But then I was like, oh my gosh, here is another possible way to lose myself, by detaching.
Becca!
So weird. Okay, and and I don't really mean this as, like, it sounds really self-flagellatory, but maybe I'm just seeing it as the interesting ways we are as human. You can lose yourself through reaction, which is a big one for me, but then you can also lose yourself through not being present. Like I had this moment so I think we're maybe working with different definitions here of this moment, but even at church yesterday, someone was talking to me and I really wanted to be listening to you and Tamara. So I was like, I sort of stopped listening, and then I felt bad later. I was like, oh wow, I really missed the opportunity to be present in that moment with that person, because I was. So anyway, this is the weird way my brain works.
It's not weird. That had already happened to me, because you were talking to Tamara and I had somebody talking to me about something I really didn't want to focus on.
So, you know,
but I had to listen.
We just all really want to be talking to Tamara. Tamara, you're our favorite. Also, I've started this relationship with an acupuncturist, Jeremy. Okay. He's new in my life.
Okay. I think he's also in Mums, right?
No, she goes to someone else.
Oh.
Maybe the one I want to go to, but
okay.
But I do like Jeremy. And he says that just noticing in our bodies, just noticing anything is enough and the body will get to work. So then I was thinking, okay, I'm just noticing these times I've lost myself.
Okay.
And is that enough?
Or maybe it's a start. I don't think I can go as far as saying it's enough, simply because the doer in me needs another couple steps, somewhere to go. But I like the idea of it being a starting point.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
No, go.
Well, just if this idea of Erdrich's a moment where you lost yourself kind of connects me back. And we did do an episode a long time ago that we called Lost and Found. But we were talking then about like emotional losses of like, you know, of the heart. But here it's much more turning the lens inward. And now it's like looking at the loss internally, right? Like where the loss of ourselves. So I find
where we did it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Is it that what we're saying? Like I make these choices. It's about our own personal choices.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that choice is very much connected to this one. And so then it just makes me think of, you just mentioned church, and at the bottom of the stairs, there's that lost and found box, which is actually like one of the saddest places in the whole building, because it's like nobody can even find it, right? I mean, like, so who knows what's in there? But that's like, in every school, there's a lost and found box. But I know that some of my elementary colleagues would be like, and that box is the best, because so many kids go back, they forget to go back and find the thing. And then at the end, you've now got like sweaters for days for your own kid, because it's going to go to waste. So you could frame the lost and found box in a couple different ways, right? It's either the loneliest place in the world, or it's like new opportunities. So I'm trying to like think of even how I can reframe my own moment of losing myself. Like, I wonder what Simon thought when he was in the room as I'm holding Elsie and you're like, give me Elsie. And like what he might have thought of this like sisterly moment. Maybe there was a part of him that was like, this is beautiful. Look at them communicating. Like, who knows? This was all playing out.
To get him on and be like, what were you thinking?
But so like, I mean, that's kind of interesting, because in terms of the reframe, I mean, the loss of self does potentially suggest that there is the option to find. What can I find? Yeah, on the other side of this lost and found box?
Which is really what Jeremy
Yeah.
What he's
Your
saying, the
acupuncturist would
body
say.
will work if you just acknowledge it, if you just look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So,
that.
but do you think the counter to losing, like, is the way, do you agree that the self-love and love is the way to counter these moments? So looking, but also loving, like, is that how we counter? I mean, that
Yeah, I totally. Absolutely.
it's just bring love, bring love
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. I think love is the way. I mean, that wherever that line comes from, and it's going to be somewhere really obvious, and I'm going to feel like a total dummy for forgetting that. But that idea, that notion that love is the only way forward is impossible for it not to be that. Like, I think that is the only thing big enough to hold all this loss and the self, and then somehow make it something new. I mean, that sounds so big and amorphous, and it's like, what the hell are you even saying, Natalie? But I really mean it. Like, I really think that there is something about, like, if we truly love in a way that is like the love that I think you and I would say that God has for us, which is just so big, right? I mean, like, so whatever it is out there that somebody else kind of lives out, whether it's a feeling of God or the universe or whatever it is, that love that allows us to be here, then we should be making that love about ourselves so that we can offer it again. Otherwise, then it's all just loss, and I don't want any part of that. Yeah, that's shitty.
That's a shitty world.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that for Frankie. I don't want that for Violet. I love that Violet's like, that word doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, I want love to be the word that can be said so many times that it still means something, because it's just that big.
Yeah, that's interesting that I do say I love you a lot, and I don't think she's ever said to me that doesn't mean anything.
No.
I should. And even today, we're starting to have, like, she's a bit grumpy in the mornings now, and I really react to mood, so that's something I'm kind of working on, is not. But then, so I was sitting on the couch, and I'm simultaneously feeling annoyed at her because she's sort of being, like, teenagery with me.
Okay.
And then I just gave her a big hug and said I love you, and I decided to just brush all the rest of my own feelings and just put love in. And she really responded. I mean, this seems so basic, but she just perked right up. Like, can we not have a big discussion? Can you just love me? That's what I saw in that moment. So
then we need to do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
In the face of these moments of loss. Just a big moment of love.
Okay.
Follow the breadcrumbs.
To the love.
Back to the desk that we're putting together. Every metaphor we could put together here.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a big one. That's that's big. Less perhaps weighty is, I want to do a 30-day experiment, Nat, and I want you to do it with me. Okay. But
the one that you're doing, or I get to do my own?
No, you can pick your own.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine, I was thinking, Simon gave me the idea, and I kind of like it because it'd be really hard for me, is no complaining for 30 days.
Okay.
And then I'm just doing all of Simon's rules. So he just said, do it this way. And I was like, okay, I'll do it that way. So if I love it when people tell me what to do. And then if I complain, then I have to start again.
Oh, okay.
This will be excruciating for me because one of my favorite things is complaining with you.
Oh no! Wait a second, I'm affected by this.
Yes, I won't be able to complain to you, Nat, which is...
Okay.
What? Are we going to have things to talk about? It's going to be so upbeat.
That's going to be tiresome. Okay. We're going to try.
I'm just going to be pointing out good things all the time. You're
Look
going to
at
be
that
so
bird.
bored.
Oh, I saw a really great tweet the other day that said, why is it that all of a sudden in your 40s you start noticing birds? And I was like, it's true. Like, all of a sudden that warbler means something.
I know. I really noticed them. Okay, what's yours going to be?
Okay, well, I think I'm going to go back to the Violet thing, and I think I'm going to then practice not saying sorry for 30 days. I will only use sorry if I, like, actually hurt someone. Like, if I physically drop something on Frankie's toe, I will say sorry. But otherwise, I'm not going to say sorry. It's not going to be like, sorry, I don't have this on the menu for you. It's going to be like, you fucking eat this.
Or sorry, I bumped into you when you actually bumped into me.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say sorry. I'm going to find other ways to keep the conversation going, because sometimes I think I even will throw sorry in as like a conversation bump. You know what I mean? To like, you roll over that little chevron, a conversational chevron. So I'm removing that chevron and I'm putting it. Yeah.
You're like, sorry, we're having a lull. It's my bad.
I think it might happen. Rebecca, I'm telling you, I have some shit to work through.
Yes.
So anyways, we're going to take out the sorry and we're going to insert new words, and I will loop back and tell you how that went in a few episodes from now.
Okay, are we starting October 1st on your birthday? Or are we starting tomorrow?
Yeah, okay.
Which?
Oh. The first. I think I want to start fresh.
October 1st. Okay.
I don't want to do math.
And then we would love it if some listeners joined us. That would be so fun.
And shared with us.
Oh my gosh, your experiment.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Okay, thanks for being with me through my tears, my very vulnerable.
Yes, and I love you.
Self-expression. I love you.
I love that you're vulnerable.
Trying, Becca.
Just to say,
all in my feelings.
Did you hear
him said last episode?
All in my feelings. I liked how he said that. He just owned that. Did you hear when our dad, big news, our dad retired?
Well, is retiring.
Is retiring.
Months, but yeah.
In 6 months. But
very big deal.
When he announced it, or when they announced it at church, did you hear my snort?
No.
I did a snort sob.
Oh, Becca.
From the piano, I know.
I didn't hear it.
At the piano. Yeah, so I was vulnerable too, and it's ugly. Vulnerability feels ugly sometimes.
Yeah. It's true. For anybody who's not seeing any visual of this video right now, I've got like an Ariana Grande half ponytail happening at the top to kind of mitigate the ugly vulnerability that has
and
been.
I'm kind of got a weird snarl happening. But I couldn't ever since you started talking that, my face just went into an oh.
Well, if anybody wants to see evidence of any of this, you can find us on YouTube. Dum, 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 dum.